Another one that comes to mind, being Latino, Cinco de Mayo. This
Of course.
I want to ask you this one, Isaiah, because I know even my sister actually didn't know this herself. What is Cinco? What would you think Cinco de Mayo is? What's good, y'all? Welcome back to another episode. Some of us right now we are in midterms for students, and some of us we just got out of a holiday, which brings up a question: are Americans or people in the United States celebrating too many holidays? Are there a couple holidays that shouldn't be celebrated? Before we get into that topic, I want to introduce our guest to the side of us.
Yeah, so my name's Isaiah. I'm a second year at Celtic Lumleys. I'm majoring in mechanical engineering, and I think this is a pretty interesting topic, so can't wait to talk about it.
Definitely, Isaiah. What would you say? What would you say? Well, what would your definition of a holiday be?
Definition, I mean, I think a holiday by definition should be a date that holds some either historical or religious impact that a mass, you know, the general public can agree should be celebrated.
Definitely, you mentioned like a religious or a almost like a remembrance of a holiday. A perfect
Yeah.
example would be, let's say, like you can say Christmas. That's a well-known
Mm-hmm.
religious holiday. You can even say with Jewish holidays coming up, I'm gonna mess this up, but I think Passover. Passover is a really
Mm-hmm.
popular Jewish
Yeah.
holiday. Rosh Hashanah, all those holidays, those are remembrances and religious ties. And it's interesting too with federal topic of federal holidays. These are holidays that the United States reserve that we either take time off or
Mhm.
individuals who are in the government work, they take time off. So one thing that comes to mind would be President's Day. Another one would be Abraham Lincoln Day or Washington
Yeah.
Day. Those are recent ones that are coming up. And it kind of brings up a question. What makes a holiday important? Like, yes, we have religious ties. Yes, we have all these remembrances, though. What would you say would classify a holiday as something that's important?
I mean, you know, I think individually everybody has a different definition of what's important or what's not. But I'd say, if you were to maybe ask a large group of people to vote on what they consider a holiday or not, I think you'd get pretty much the same answer. But if you were to have a conversation individually, uh, person to person about what holidays they think should or shouldn't be celebrated, I think you get widely different answers. So I think it's just how you go about answering that.
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of, it's almost like not an opinion based, but it's like a majority
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hmm. You could go opinion based, or you could go majority.
majority. And you kind of bring up a great, you kind of reminded me of Juneteenth, one of the most, I would say, one of the most recent federal holidays
Hmm.
that became a thing. My sister and I were talking about it before coming up with this topic. Like, what the heck is Juneteenth? We hear about it, but
Yeah.
what was it? I'm actually going to search that up right now. So, what would you say would classify a holiday as something that's important?
I mean, you know, I think individually everybody has a different definition of what's important or what's not. But I'd say, if you were to maybe ask a large group of people to vote on what they consider a holiday or not, I think you'd get pretty much the same answer. But if you were to have a conversation individually, uh, person to person about what holidays they think should or shouldn't be celebrated, I think you get widely different answers. So I think it's just how you go about answering that.
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of, it's almost like not an opinion based, but it's like a majority
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hmm. You could go opinion based, or you could go majority.
majority. And you kind of bring up a great, you kind of reminded me of Juneteenth, one of the most, I would say, one of the most recent federal holidays
Hmm.
that became a thing. My sister and I were talking about it before coming up with this topic. Like, what the heck is Juneteenth? We hear about it, but
Yeah.
what was it? I'm actually going to search that up right now just to make sure I get it correctly.
I mean, yeah, you know.
So Juneteenth, as far as I know, this is a black holiday. It happens on June 19th, hence the name Juneteenth. But Juneteenth is a federal holiday that commemorates the emancipation of enslaved Africans. So, of
Mhm,
course, we know slavery is a bad thing. Slavery has been
of
around
course.
such a long time. So, what made June 19th so special? This, from my understanding, with Juneteenth, this was, you could say, an official day that slavery
Was no more.
was, you can say, yeah, was, you can say
Hmm.
abolished, that many individuals finally realized, like, hey, we're free. We don't have to be tied up with these individuals anymore. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So another one that comes to mind, being Latino, Cinco de Mayo. This
Of course.
I want to ask you this one, Isaiah, because I know even my sister actually didn't know this herself. What is Cinco? What would you think Cinco de Mayo is?
Ah, bro. I'm Latino too, bro, but don't hit me with that shit, because to be honest, I mean, I know what it is, but like, it's one of those I had to be reminded of it, you know what I mean, to know.
Yeah, as far as I know, like Cinco de Mayo, it's I know it's not Mexican Independence Day.
Yeah, I know that too.
A lot of people is like, oh yeah,
Hmm.
Mexican Independence Day. It's a day we can drink,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
party, and stuff like that. But I recently found out that Cinco de Mayo is a reminder, a celebration of the Mexican-French War that happened
Mm, hmm.
in. Let me pull up the notes real quick. This was in the Battle of. This is the Battle of Pueblo. So I am, you can
Hmm.
tell, I'm definitely not a history junkie, but this Cinco de Mayo was a holiday that celebrated Mexican victory over France during the France Mexico War. So interesting enough, despite it being Cinco de Mayo and being in Spanish, it's not too widely celebrated in Mexico. But
Actually, yeah, I've heard that too.
it's interesting because like
Hmm.
Cinco de Mayo, it's Spanish. It's the 5th of May.
Yeah.
It's you would assume that it would have to be in Mexico, but more widely celebrated in
America.
America. Yeah.
Hmm.
So I found that quite interesting.
And I don't know if it's damn. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be wrong about this, but I know Mexican Independence Day is like some other day, and the actual Mexican Independence Day is celebrated all throughout Mexico. You know what I mean? But Cinco de Mayo specifically is not because it's not. It's such like a minor accomplishment for Mexicans that like in Mexico they don't even celebrate it.
Yeah, like you mentioned, it's a very minor thing, which is interesting. It's like you don't know these things until you search it up, you know?
Yeah. Uh
So the piggyback on actual Mexican Independence Day is September 16th. That's
Dude, I was gonna say September 13th,
you're
but yeah,
good.
yeah.
You're good. That kind of brings up the question. September 13th. Nothing major. Nothing major. Just shows.
Yeah.
But
Uh-huh.
it definitely raises the question about that. But that does bring another question up. Kind of, we talked a little bit about it with holidays. When do holidays become official? When do they become important? And as I would argue, as Americans, we feel there's a lot of days that need to be celebrated, like Pizza Day.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm pretty sure if you go on Google and just search up what national holiday is it, there's probably one for like almost every day of the year, to be honest.
yeah, what would you say your favorite national holiday? Well, your favorite holiday would be?
I mean, overall, my favorite holiday is Christmas. You know what I mean? It's probably the most nostalgic, the most eventful, and means the most to me personally. You know what I mean? What about yours?
That's a great question. I would say recently Christmas has been a bigger one because I've been spending a lot more time with my family
Oh,
the other
hmm.
states as well. Though surprisingly enough, I'm not a big holiday person. I've never been
Oh,
a fan
really?
of parties, never been a fan of like huge gatherings. Being an introvert, being a bit more
Oh,
shy.
hmm.
Yeah, no, never
Yeah,
been
I
a
get you.
holiday person, but I would definitely say Christmas. I always love the atmosphere. Everyone's it seems to be nicer for some reason. It would be great if they were nice all the time, but
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, Christmas is a big one. I would say Halloween was a pretty is a
Oh,
recent
dude, yeah. Love Halloween.
like a
Probably
spook.
second. Probably second on my list, you
Yeah, right.
know?
That's a good Halloween's a good one, and I would say Halloween kind of brings up a question: why is Halloween celebrated, and why is it not a federal holiday? What do you think?
I think Halloween is more religious, or at least it has more religious background than a lot of other holidays. Um, you know, besides, Christmas, which is not, I'm not sure if it's actually federally backed, but I know a lot of people give time off for, Christmas or um they call it quote unquote the holidays, basically the entire month of December. But for Halloween, which is actually All Hallows Eve, um, has to go back to I think Christianity, where the next day is All Saints Day, and I feel like that just has to tie in more with religion than it does to like the government, which is why they might not federally recognize that as a holiday.
That is true. You mentioned, like All Saints and All Souls Day in Spanish.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna mess this up. I just say day.
yeah, yeah. Dia de
Uh,
los Muertos, of course.
yeah, that word. So that is from November 1st to November 2nd, and that does
Yep.
tie in with like Halloween spooky season, that scariness.
Hmm.
And
Yeah, yeah.
it's interesting that does a tie with that. But it also brings up the question too: St. Patrick's Day, Valentine's Day.
Mm-hmm.
You hear it in the title for at least St. Patrick's Day, March 17th. That
Yeah,
is based off of like Catholicism, Christianity.
yeah, heavily.
Patrick, I need to find out his last name. What is St. Patrick's last whole name? St.
That I don't remember.
Because it feels weird calling him St. Patrick. I'm like, what's homeboy's actual name?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, no, we're not gonna say that. It's like Maui Sukat.
yeah. I'm pretty sure. Damn, I forgot where he comes from, but I know he was kidnapped by the Irish.
Yeah,
Hmm.
he was. He wasn't from Ireland, which is interesting.
Yeah, yeah,
St. Patrick is patron saint of Ireland, even though he's not from there.
yeah. Yeah, I know.
It's so confusing. But then once you get into the history, you find out St. Patrick, he was, you can say, a prophet for Christians, or he was
Yeah,
that introduced God to these people. So that was really cool. And then tying in with saints, Valentine's Day, that's another
yeah.
religious holiday
Hmm.
that's become more and more, how would you say, like not government holiday, but what would you say? Like, what would be a correct term for that?
It's so widely socially celebrated that the government recognizes it as a day that people will celebrate no matter what.
Okay, yeah, socially, I guess a social holiday, you can
Hmm.
say. Then that's a great way to say a social holiday. What other holidays would you say is that were pretty interesting, or would you say that were backed up by like religion?
Let's see. I mean, Easter, of course, originated from Christianity. Um, let's see. Easter was originally religious. Same thing with Christmas, St. Patrick's Day, Valentine's Day. I'm pretty sure those are the biggest ones that are religiously or from religious origin, but um I'm pretty sure there are more, you know.
Yeah, definitely, and especially now that you can say the United States is moving away from
Yeah.
Christianity. A lot
Hmm.
of these holidays that used to be widely celebrated are now more of social gatherings or social traditions.
Hmm.
Something that came to mind too is Thanksgiving. A lot of like being Native American. This is, I would argue, is a very controversial holiday because if you think
Oh, hmm.
Pilgrims, Indians, we did not sing,
Yeah.
do all these things that
Hmm.
you see on TVs. So even though I'm not as much as I want to be connected with my culture, I'm not too connected. And rather than celebrating Thanksgiving, what we do is we celebrate time with family, and we see
Hmm.
it as an opportunity of being thankful for one another.
Oh yeah, of course.
And it's interesting because these holidays, even though some of them have been traditional or have been around for such a long time, now a lot of these holidays are, how would you say it, being molded into a modern day.
hmm
Wouldn't you say?
Definitely, I'd say as as the general public gains more and more information about the history of these um holidays, I'd say everybody's forming kind of their own opinion about them. So things like Thanksgiving and stuff, when you start to look at the history of it, you can start to form your own opinion. And if you want to keep celebrating it, you can. But if you don't, then that's also a very valid point. You know what I mean? So I'd say definitely people have gotten sort of, or people have sort of started to like move away from celebrating just to celebrate and actually started looking at the history of these events.
Yeah, definitely. They're not so much, they're not, I wouldn't say the term being woke, but they're,
Yeah.
you can say that's its own category too, but with
hmm
people being knowledgeable and educated, perfect example with Columbus Day. Now,
Yeah, that one too.
now it's known as Indigenous Day, which that's still a controversial on its own. It's a lot, I think if I'm not mistaken, it's still considered a federal holiday, Columbus Day.
I think it is.
So that's interesting how,
I think it's still considered a, what do you call it? A federal holiday, but I don't think um people are giving, like time off, or there's not like an actual celebration that goes on in that day anymore. You know what
it's
I mean?
just their part of history, which is
Yeah, yeah. It's just still like a popular day to be recognized now.
definitely interesting. That reminded me, Cesar Chavez recently, I would argue recently
Mm.
a holiday that's people are getting
Mm-hmm.
time off, but spring break's been around the corner. Spring breaks comes up too, so spring break and Cesar Chavez Day.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, being at CBU, did you know that we have Cesar Chavez Day off, which is the same day, it's in the week that we have our spring break.
Oh, really? Is it the first or the last day?
It's the last, I think it's the Friday, so it's that last day.
Oh, okay. Damn. I actually, well, I mean, if you like, I'm pretty sure I've noticed the like, Cesar Chavez Day is during spring break, but I've never actually, made that correlation.
It's interesting. I'm curious if there's a reason why. Personally, obviously, as we're paying for college, I would much rather not have that day off because we're paying
Yeah, yeah, of course.
for school. But yeah, who knows? Trying to think, what other holidays would you say? I would wish I knew more about holidays that are out of the country, especially as the United States.
Oh, uh-huh.
We are a
Okay.
very big country, and which is
hmm
another reason why we celebrate so many holidays, like Chinese New
Oh,
Year.
yeah, of course.
There's
hmm
an abundance of holidays that obviously, personally, I don't know. And
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Like for example, like you said, Chinese New Year. Um, Also things like, damn, I'm not sure. I know Hanukkah is around the same time as Christmas, but I know it doesn't align exactly. And damn, I forgot about some Indian holidays too. But you're right, there are more um holidays from cultures around the world that are celebrated here because of course um California is a melting pot, but there's still many other cultures all throughout America too. But yeah, you're right.
it's interesting, especially being at Long Beach. I'm meeting a lot more, well, obviously, individuals are from different countries and states,
Yeah, yeah.
and countries and culture, but I'm meeting a lot more individuals who are Jewish, which I've
Oh,
rarely
really?
came across. So it's really cool to meet individuals who actually take time off for holidays like Hanukkah. Or, I'm gonna
hmm
get this wrong, but I'm gonna feel Rosh Hashanah is another day
Yeah,
they take off, and it's interesting to meet them. Well, obviously meet them and hear about these holidays because
yeah.
you don't hear them that much, especially where I'm at in Monterey Park and Pico.
Oh, yeah. I get that.
Interesting. Canada. There. Did you know that Canada they celebrate Thanksgiving on a different day?
The same Thanksgiving, just on a different day. I didn't know
Thanksgiving.
that.
One of my buddies I met, he is Canadian. We don't even know where he's from, honestly. But he was born in Canada. So he made a comment. We met him at a summer camp, and he's like, "Did you guys know that Thanksgiving's on a different day?" And it's on October. Well, this year it's October 9th. It's on a Monday.
Oh, is it a different day of October every year, or is it always on the 9th?
That is a great question. It's the second Monday of October. So
Mm-hmm.
it's very similar to other federal holidays in the United States, where it's
Yeah.
usually 2nd or 4th or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
That also reminds me, a lot of things that are reminding me of things.
Yeah.
Election day, that's been if anyone's like in the political atmosphere or like into politics, people are bringing up the comment that election day should be a federal holiday.
Really? What arguments have you heard for that?
Election day. Mm, the biggest one is, well, the biggest, it's actually from a complaint that people aren't voting or not enough people.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
And election day for, I'm assuming this year, is November 7th, 2023. That's on a Tuesday.
Oh, yeah, I actually that does kind of make sense.
Granted, knowing millennials, Gen Zs, all the youngsters, well, I don't know, I could be wrong. I feel like having that day off, a lot of us are definitely going to do anything but vote. But
Yeah.
what do you think? Would you say that people would actually take the time to vote because they have that day, or are they more likely to make time because they don't have as much time?
No, I definitely say it's a mix of both. A lot of people, pretty sure I'm not over exaggerating by saying most people, um, you know, who work 5, 6 days a week, 40, maybe 50 plus hours a week, definitely don't feel like voting when they come home from work, you know what I mean? And I'd say if they were given the day off, not everybody would vote, but that would definitely open a lot of time, especially if it was like a federally recognized holiday where work had to give them that day off. That I think we'd see a lot more votes coming from a bunch of different places. You know what I mean? That we previously didn't. So I've never heard of that one, but I do think that should be a federally recognized holiday now.
I definitely would agree on that. That it's on Tuesday, it's right smack in the middle of
Yeah, work week.
the work week. So that day off, even though business wise, it financially won't be the best, but think of it in the
Hmm.
long term. We're voting for someone that's going to run our country. Well,
Yeah.
maybe not our country, but just they're going to run the way things are.
Hmm.
So that's a whole topic we can get into too, just politics and just how that
Of
works
course.
out. But that's another time and day.
Of course.
There's there's another one. There was one more that came to mind. Um, Awareness days. What would you classify
Oh,
that?
damn. Uh, like of course October is Breast Cancer Awareness Day. I mean month. I know there's other awareness days, but that's interesting because I feel like when it comes to being like when you talk about holidays, um like awareness is important, you know what I mean? And with so many problems going on in the world, it's hard to keep awareness like of every single problem 24/7. So I think things like awareness month, like breast cancer awareness, even if it's like a minuscule portion of the amount of problems going on in the world, I think having dedicated times of awareness for different things is um even like marginally more beneficial. It's still beneficial to have people know about these things, because some people who are caught up with work or personal life, school life, can just be so oblivious to all of these things when there's a chance that they could make a real improvement or you know donate actual help to these causes. So I think having awareness days, months, separate times dedicated to these um awareness causes is definitely a good thing.
Extremely. I know personally being close ties with disabilities like with autism. Autism
Mm,
Awareness Month is in April, and then I think
yeah, Mm-hmm.
Anxiety or depression? Suicide Prevention Month? Let me if I know how to spell suicide. Suicide prevention. I want to say that's November. It's September. And
Okay.
it's a week, not a, I thought it was a month.
Oh, a week.
So from September 10th to September 16th, that is
Mm.
National Suicide Prevention Week. Interesting, because the day after, well, that September is also Mexican Independence Day.
Oh yeah, huh? Damn,
So
that's actually kind of crazy.
that is an interesting connection.
I
But
mean,
yeah,
I think it falls more into what do you call it, coincidence, since
yeah,
you know there's only a certain amount of days in a year, and you know when you have enough holidays, everything has to like fit into a schedule eventually. You know what
yeah,
I
definitely,
mean?
definitely agree on that. And like piggybacking, on what you were saying earlier, Isaac Isaiah. I'm sorry, I keep on calling you Isaac.
You're good.
um, is that it's really good to be aware. Like obviously, with right now in February as we're recording, is Black History Month. It's not so much important to know what Americans did wrong. It's more important on knowing about different cultures, about things that we're not aware about. It's
Mhm.
extremely important, and even to know a little bit of history, be curious. That's a big thing that we tend to lose nowadays, especially with the internet. Information is given to us. We're not so much given an opportunity to go search for these answers or
Yeah.
come up with questions. Everything's just given to us now.
No, actually, I kind of agree with that. I think a lot of information is just thrown at people nowadays, and since you know misinformation is so easy to spread online, I think that people tend to stick with the opinion they hear first, and not necessarily with what's correct. So instead of like going and researching a topic, they'll sort of stick with the first thing that they heard because it's the first time that they were ever introduced to this information. So I think more people should learn to um I mean obviously you hear don't believe everything you hear on the internet, but some people kind of forget that just because a person has like some title or some amount of fame or money doesn't mean that they're qualified to speak about a certain topic or another, you know?
Yeah, definitely. My grandpa would always tell me, when we're watching sports, it's like whenever you see someone that an athlete that gets political, you do your best not to listen to them.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, it's valid. It's valid. When
Mhm.
have you seen a politician, someone like going into political science, someone that's studying political science is also an athlete?
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
so yeah, that is. Any other holidays before we wrap it up that you can think of, or awareness days, or something that comes to mind?
um I'm not really sure. Sorry, hold on. Damn. I thought I was gonna sneeze. But
Love
no, not really. Thanks.
Yeah, definitely. No, no worries. So there's definitely a lot more holidays out there. Obviously,
Of
us two
course, yeah.
individuals, we do not know every holiday out there, and
Yeah.
especially anyone that does know that. So if you guys do have any holidays that you guys know or want to share, let us know. Thank you guys for watching. Always remember to pass a smile, stay safe, be curious, always be awesome, and we'll see you guys next time. Stay safe.